quizzical face is obviously you can only see me, but I've got other screens open where I'm doing stuff and musing or thinking about 1,000 things at once, actually, which is my neurodiversity. So my brain has like so many different drawers open at the minute. And I'm thinking about the kids in state school and private school and how we've dehumanized them. We've dehumanized them by giving them numbers. And again, this is something that's, coming up in the education bill, of barcodes and chips. It feels like a sci-fi film. You watch those films in the future and you just think, oh my God. Well, I mean, I don't watch them because I'm really scared of them. I'm definitely a sort of Snow White, Call the Midwife type girl. I can't watch sci-fi films because I find it so scary and I find the concept really scary. And yet here we are talking about microchips in kids and barcodes and ID numbers that you'll have for the rest of your life. It's like, we are numbers. And we're referring to children as numbers when we talk about negative adverse effects on them. And politicians and media outlets say it's not that many. And, it's only 7% of kids in private school. Doesn't really matter. It's only 130,000 that have got SEN. Well, it's only going to be a minority who are displaced. Well, there's only so and so waiting for EHCPs. Well, there's only about 23% that didn't get their first place school. It's all this minority groups are just only. And and I really, really struggle with that. And I struggle with that on a broad spectrum. But keeping it with children, how must a child feel to be so dehumanized that they're only, that they're not accountable? And I took my daughter, I think I've said this, to the debate in London on Monday, and she heard Torsten Bell talking about his support for the 93%. And she was like, what about me? Does he not care about me? And I'm like, no, he doesn't. And that's the reality, because she's collateral damage. She she couldn't go to state school. So if we can't afford to send her to private school, she has no schooling option. Now, that's not her fault. That's not because she just doesn't want to go to state school because it's like a bit further down the road. It's something that she mentally and emotionally cannot do. So what do we do? Bridget, what do I do? How how do I get round that? And obviously then there's all of the people that are in support of this that will go, well, you pay the fees. Well, what if I don't have the money? What if we could afford it just about before and now we can't afford it and she can't go to state school? So what do we do? And for us, that's not something that we sort of go, oh, I don't know, I'll think about it tomorrow. That's a very, very real problem. So to then hear somebody say, that's not that many, it's only a few, it's dehumanizing. And we seem to have sort of got into this place where that's okay. But it's not okay. It can't be okay, can it? It can't. Our value of human life cannot be such that we go, it's only a few. And it is human life. I mean, let's be brutal about this. There are families, children and parents at this moment in time who can't see a way out. And I say that, my eyes prick and I have a big lump and my nose fizzes. And I don't want to say it because it feels too terrifying to acknowledge it. But we have to acknowledge it because it is real. And what will we say if the inevitable happens? It was only one. I really, really struggle with it. It goes round like on a spin cycle in my head. Why are we saying it's just a few? Why are we accepting that, thinking that's okay? It's not. In any way, it's not okay for any of the children. For the children this is adversely affecting in state, and the children this is adversely affecting in private. It isn't about state or private. It's adversely affecting children and families. You know what it's like. If your child is unhappy, it hurts you. If your child has a problem and it's really hard for them to navigate, it hurts you. It's hurting me now thinking about it. And I can't get off the spin cycle. I can't get off this train that just keeps going round and round and round of it's not okay. When did society decide that just a few was an acceptable collateral damage? I don't want to be part of that. I don't align with that. I I can't shrug it off. And I am getting more and more frustrated with people that have been voted into a position of power and authority who are shrugging it off. And, that brings us back to a deeper conversation of conscience and disconnect, and the fact that perhaps, well, not perhaps, there is an inability to connect with the decisions that are being made with real human beings. There's an absolute inability to see that me as a human is being affected by your policy. And that's for lots of reasons. That's because polarization of just being able, it has to be, you're wrong, about not accepting that there could be a choice, not accepting that there could be an alternative. It's I mean, so many things, and you'll fall asleep if I go into all of that now. We will at some point. But in my musing chair, contemplating chair as my friend and I call it, I'm contemplating when it became okay to treat children as numbers that could be disregarded, percentages that could be disregarded, and families as collateral damage. And for me, it's not okay in any way. But I feel like I need to rationalize that because, yeah, it's a lot. You've probably had more of an insight into the way that my mind works than you wanted. But I felt I had to share that with you because I don't think I'm on my own. I really don't think I'm on my own.